This is a horror game podcast. It is meant for mature audiences. It may contain adult language, violence, and sexual themes, as well as shocking revelations. Viewer discretion is advised. Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Thom Raley. The scenario is Mr. Corbitt. It was written by Michael DeWolfe, and it appears in Mansions of Madness. I am the Keeper of Arcane Lore, and this is Episode 4. Our recap will be given by Max Meltzer as his character, Bernie. But before we begin, we have a new patron, Chad Baylor, has generously pledged $15 a month to help our club thrive. Thank you so much, Chad. So without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Max.
Hey, Cindy. I just wanted to tell you why I haven't been around lately. Well, you see, we tracked down that guy Tomaszewski to the hospital where he worked, George and I. George was able to get us past the security, and we cornered him in an office where he was cleaning. To our surprise, when we confronted him, he immediately attacked us with a broom and bolted. As we chased him through the hospital, though, he slipped on a wet patch of floor and flew out the window to his death, 5 stories down. George cleverly was able to identify some sort of satanic necklace on him, and I picked up his wallet to get his ID and address. We reconvened with the others and decided to break into Tomaszewski's apartment. There we found a satanic altar and the corpses of several pets. Real shame. Just as we were about to leave, though, we noticed a fruit basket identical to one of Corbitt's on the counter. We returned home, suspicious of Corbitt, when he came across the street to Mark's house and informed him that he would be leaving for a few days to New York. We think maybe he might be fleeing, so I'm going to follow him. If you don't hear me back in 2 days, call the president.
Okay. So we'll say that it's that Mr. Corbitt comes back to his house a little before noon, and you see him after 20 or 30 minutes bring a couple of suitcases out and load them into the trunk of his car. He then returns to his front door. He locks the door, climbs into his car, and drives away. He's wearing a suit, but it seems like an uncomfortable thing to go driving around in. Now, one or more of you saw him do this, probably Mark or whoever's over at Mark's house, but he is now officially gone. What you guys want to do?
What day is today?
This is, I think it's the day before Thanksgiving. This is July 2nd, actually. So it's Tuesday evening. But Bernie, did you say you were going to follow him?
Yeah, that was my intention.
Okay. So, we'll say you get in your car and you decide to follow him. Are you going to follow close enough to where he might notice you, or?
I'm going to try to be as sneaky as possible.
Okay. Why don't you just do a luck roll?
Yes, 37 pass.
Okay. So he doesn't see you. However, you follow him through town. You follow him a little ways, across the normal roads, and he eventually gets to we'll call it the turnpike that leads towards New York, which is 4.5 hours away. Do you want to follow him all the way to New York?
I don't know. I'll definitely. I'm gonna follow him, like maybe like 20 minutes on the turnpike, because I don't want him to just go down and then get off and then come back
Right.
around.
All right. Um, there seems after 20 minutes, there's no deviation at all.
Yeah, I'll go back then.
He is just going. So we'll say that takes you about an hour. Do the rest of you want to wait for Bernie to get back? Just in case Mr. Corbitt turns around and comes right back, like Bernie was guessing.
Yeah, and I don't want to go in without Bernie either. So
All right.
I'm pretty sure Bernie's the only reason that I'm going to go in.
But yeah, I think we're probably going to wait for him to return.
So we'll say it's around 2 p.m. and Bernie comes back, parks his car, and we'll assume you guys are all kind of over at Mark's. All right. So he comes walking over to where you guys are.
Well, it looks like Corbett was not lying. He went to New York.
Yeah,
yep.
he told me he's got some kind of problem with customs that he had to sort out. So he's only going to be gone probably 2 days at the most.
That's more than enough for us to find the meat effigy.
He,
The meat effigy?
The meat effigy, man. He's building it.
What have we got ourselves into? All right. Well, I guess boys suit up and let's go break and enter.
All right. So
I don't think we have to break. Mark has the key.
yeah, I have a key.
All right. Then enter, I guess.
Perfectly legal.
all right. So you guys are all going to file across the street, and you get to his front porch, and you step up onto the porch. Um, I would like you to do a spot hidden as you are walking across the street.
Got an extreme success.
Nice.
Regular success.
Just got a regular.
With extreme success, George. As you get about halfway across the street, walking towards the house, you think that the curtain in the upstairs window moves just a little bit.
And the window's closed.
Yes, you're just looking at the curtain on the inside. This is
Brilliant.
the second story of the house.
All right. We all saw Corbett leave, right? Did anybody see that? The window up there, the curtain move?
No, but I mean, he might have a cat.
I don't remember.
Did any of us see it besides
Yeah.
George? Those of us who got regular?
Maybe you weren't looking in the right direction, but the extreme, you saw it. If you want, you can do an intelligence roll.
Anybody?
Anybody.
Ooh, I got a regular.
59.
Oh, I got a 3. That's just extreme.
Nice.
All right, Mark,
Brain blast.
you've never seen a cat, but you do recall on the day of the barbecue when you guys were talking about the jackal, somebody asked Mr. Corbitt if he had a pet, and he said Lucy, and then just sort of changed the subject. I think you might have asked him, and he said a cat. But
Okay.
you've never seen this cat.
Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I've delivered his mail many times, but maybe Lucy's not friendly, likes to hide from strangers.
Mhm. Okay, yeah, that's got to be it because I nobody else lives with them. So all right, or my eyes are just playing tricks on me. But I'm probably just nervous. Let's keep going.
Okay.
All right. So you get to the front door, and mark your key works just fine. Door is still a little sticky, but it opens. And you guys look into the front little foyer of his house. It's very neat and very clean. Um, Nothing out of place. Uh, Seems like the floor has been cleaned. The walls are clean. There's no cobwebs in the corners. Everything is arranged very nicely, very cleanly. You step in, and there is directly to your right hand side is the little living room, sort of parlor living room. There's a fireplace, and he's got very simple, tasteful furniture. It looks like it might have a bit of that uh, Oriental cast. That's probably where he got it since he's an importer from there. There are a couple of interesting things. There is you're not sure if it's a painting or something that's been framed up on the wall, and there is a, a half circle sort of a curio cabinet that goes, it's about maybe 7 feet high, and it's curved in the front with glass with
Mm-hmm.
little shelves. And there's things in there. And then you can see there's a door going into what must be probably the kitchen, because it's a layout not dissimilar from anybody else's house. And maybe a couple of other rooms. And of course, the stairs going upstairs. What would you guys like
Ernst
to
is
do?
going to set his toolbox down because he wants to have an excuse in case Bernard comes back, Just going to fix that door for you like I planned on.
Oh, and there's a back door going out where the kitchen is. All right. What do you guys want to do?
Is it light enough that we can see without having to turn on lights?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. The curtains themselves are just those sort of wispy old lady kitten, things. Um, the decor of the house, it's interesting because it's definitely a mix between masculine and feminine. Um, Obviously, when his wife was alive 10
Right.
years ago, she added her touch to the house, but it was the family house. There's probably some of the furniture is a little bit old fashioned because of Corbitt's dad was also an importer. But there's definitely an air to the place that is stuff from his import business that he's brought, little pieces and things that he likes. The framed, at first you don't know if it was a picture or a poster or a painting. But as you go up to the picture on the wall, you realize it looks like an old piece of parchment. It's got a painting on the left side and text on the right. It's been translated into English, but it definitely looks very Hindu-ish. If you guys want to look at that closer.
I'm gonna look
I
at that
would. I mean,
closer.
I don't speak Hindu, but I'd like to take a
Well,
look.
it's been translated,
Right.
but yeah, it's a very interesting painting.
Okay. As they stood poised for the battle, Prince Arjuna hesitated to attack the enemy with his army. Vishnu, in the incarnation of Krishna, encouraged and motivated him, explaining how the universe functions. life, death, reincarnations, Brahman, Maya, and how it is an endless cycle. Prince Arjuna wanted to understand, so he asked to see Vishnu in his true cosmic form. In an instant of time shorter than the beat of a bird's wing, it all unfolded before his mind. He could see it as no living creature has ever seen it before. The overwhelmed and humble Arjuna cried out, "Tell me who thou art in such a fearsome form. I bow down my soul to thee. O most glorious of gods, be merciful, O primal essence. I wish to understand thee because I cannot fathom your intentions." With a thunderous voice like mountains colliding, the Supreme Lord said, "I am Death, the destroyer of worlds, and today I am out to destroy. What is time or space to me? All your petty hopes and fears are, I assume that means nothing. Whether or not you go to war is to me irrelevant. Every man here arrayed for battle will die. They shall all cease to exist. From my perspective, they have already been destroyed by me. I am the universe, and I command. All things are one to me. In this place and time, you are only an instrument of my will." And that's from the Bhagavad Gita, I believe.
Correct.
Bernie, is that somehow related to that statue we saw out in the greenhouse?
Well, the Bhagavad Gita is Hindu, and the statue, I mean, Hindu and Buddhism share a lot of gods, so it's probably the same one. I'm not really sure about Hinduism.
I forget. Apologies. Is Bernie Buddhist?
No.
Oh, okay.
He does seem to have a lot of knowledge of Eastern
He's
because
been
of
around.
maybe all of the marijuana.
Well, I was going to say, you hang out with enough filthy hippies, you'll pick it up as via osmosis, right?
Smoked Buddha before, that's for sure.
George is going to wander over to the curio cabinet. What's inside of it?
There's a few little things, this and that. A little golden frog with money and various other things. But the one thing that sort of catches your eye is what looks like a kind of dagger. It's golden color. You don't know if it's actually gold or if it's brass, but it looks like that.
Bernie, is this another Buddhist or Hindu thing?
Vishnu.
Okay.
That's the god that was destroyed and then reassembled, but they couldn't find his head, and so they put an elephant head on him.
Interesting. Huh. Mr. Corbitt certainly has a collection of eclectic religious items, I guess.
Well, I mean, he does import from the Far East. Makes sense.
Yes, that's true.
All right, everyone. I'm going to go see how many cat heads are in the freezer.
Oh.
Okay. So
I think we should check upstairs in case someone's here.
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
There's no answer. Jack, were you going to go check the kitchen anyway?
Yeah.
Right. So in the kitchen, when you go in there, by the way, one thing you're still getting is everything is spotlessly clean. Everything is organized. Everything is at right angles to everything else. You go in the kitchen, it's immaculate. If this is his normal way of doing things, his wife must have loved him. Everything is clean. The refrigerator is stocked with vegetables, and the freezer has meat, but it looks like store-bought meat, steaks and chickens and things like that.
It's not long pork.
No. Everything looks like it's exactly what a normal, everyday person would have in their kitchen. There's a larder with dry goods, and everything that you'd find in your own larder, you find in his.
All right.
So nothing unusual at all.
Close that freezer back up and rejoin the group and say, Yeah, guys, I still not really sure what we're looking for. Is it like a butcher shop or something?
Well, why don't we go upstairs, see what might be moving around?
Okay. Who's going up the stairs first?
Well, I had the idea, so I'll lead the way.
Okay. So Ruby, you're going up the stairs. Do a listen roll for me.
Sure. Oof, a 71. That is a fail.
Okay. You think you hear something. It doesn't sound loud or large, maybe cat size. But you don't see anything. You get to
Okay.
the top of the stairs. It looks like, in the addition to a restroom, it looks like there are three bedrooms. You're seeing the doors; they're not open.
Right.
And then there's at the very end there's a window looking out into the backyard. What do you guys want to do?
I'm gonna check. I mean, if we're here snooping around, I'd like to see if I can figure out which one of these rooms is like the master bedroom because I want to snoop through his stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I think George would want to go to the window, figure out where the window he saw move it from, and go to that door.
Okay. Right.
I'm going to go with George.
Right. So we'll say Ernest and George. You go to the first door on the right. And when you open the door, this is a room. It's obviously was a bedroom. It has a bed frame. There is no mattress. It is clean and dust free, but it is empty. You might say guest bedroom, or maybe it was a bedroom they had in the house that he hasn't used in 20 years, so he just cleaned it out and it's empty. However, there is a built-in closet, and the built-in closet is open. And when you open up the door, you hear something very quickly sort of make a thudding noise, and something, you're not sure exactly what, in the closet seems to bang suddenly, rather loudly, like a door closing or something like that.
That wasn't the pipes, George.
No, and I don't think it was a cat. All right, so I'm sorry. The closet door is open or closed?
It's open.
It's open. Okay, so
but like you can only see half.
Right.
Half in.
Going to cautiously head towards it, the door.
Okay. As you're walking towards it, it is completely empty. However, on the dark end, where the door is still closed, there is a ladder going up to the attic, little attic door, goes up into the attic, and the string that hangs from it is swinging.
Ooh.
Well, that's a nice way to hide an attic entrance, but cats can't close that.
No. Do you think we should go up there, or do you think we should get the others?
I don't know. I think, it'd probably be less surprising to whoever's up there if it were just the two of us.
Okay, yeah. I mean, so George is gonna, walk into the closet to where the the ladder is and just stop at the bottom and listen to see if I can hear anything above, like moving around.
Okay.
Yeah, and also for smells like perfumes or colognes or
Interesting. Do we'll call it a spot hidden for both the sound and the smells.
You know what? I'm going to
I failed.
spend. I failed too, but I'm going to spend. Ooh. Well, I need the math in my head. 12 luck to pass. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it is Call of Cthulhu. You could
yeah.
always just yellow it.
Yeah.
George, you never need luck.
George, you were trying to hear some sound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, as you go quiet and stand still, you definitely think you hear something go better, running across ceiling up above you.
Sounds like there's something up there. It could just be like a raccoon or something. I mean, we're here. We might as well check it out.
Or maybe not. Do we really need to know? I mean, that's not why we're here, is it? I mean, does it sound animal-like, Keeper?
It sounds small. It doesn't sound like a full-grown person's footsteps.
But it sounds like footsteps, not.
It doesn't sound heavy.
No, I didn't hear it.
If it was a human being up there crouched down trying to walk back and forth, you'd hear the squeak, squeak, squeak. In this case,
Yeah, it's probably just a polecat or a coon or something.
The curiosity is going to kill me more than anything else. I'm just going to pop my poke my head up in there and see what it is. If I can see anything. I probably can't see anything. It's probably dark, but so George is going to climb the ladder and just lift it up and poke his head in.
Poke your head in there.
Mm-hmm.
Do spot hidden for me.
It's a critical fail.
Okay.
Oof.
So you don't see it coming. No, just had to say it that way. All right. There is a surprising amount of light up here. There are little windows on either end of the peaked roof. The floor is wood. All the floors in here are wood. But there is a really pretty oriental carpet that's laid on the floor. It's surprisingly clean. He must come up here and clean also.
So the floors are wooden. It's not like it's just like the rafters and insulation on the floor. It's actually floors.
There's a finished wooden floor up here.
Okay. Oh.
And a carpet on it. You can see there's a looks like some sort of lounge chair at the far end, like where you'd stick some old furniture up here. There are definitely boxes and things like that as well. But it oddly gives you the feeling that he might spend a little time up here every once in a while, up in the attic. The danger being that you might bump your head on the roof, but as long as you stay towards the middle, you've got enough room. You can see trunks and boxes and things like that.
You see it, George?
Yeah, it almost looks like he uses this, as another room. There's
no, but I mean, whatever's making those footsteps.
Oh no, I don't see anything. It must be a mouse or something. No,
It's got to be bigger than that because it came through the door.
It could have hit the door and knocked it. I mean, I don't know. But you know what? There's some boxes up here. I'm gonna go check them out. Do you want to come up?
Yeah, let me just yell to the others that we found the way up to the attic.
All right, I'm gonna head up while you do that.
Yeah, I go out in the hallway and say, "Hey, we found the attic," and then I'll follow George up.
Okay, let's jump back to the others.
Sure.
You get to we'll just go down the line. You get to the next door and you open it.
Sure.
And This room, you weren't expecting it, but it kind of makes horrible sense. It looks like it was a child's nursery,
Oh no.
only it's never been used.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
It's perfectly clean. Um, some of the decorations are they're sort of falling apart after 10 years, but this probably looks so far like the one room that he comes in the very least. Probably because horrible memories.
Right. It just has a millimeter thin layer of dust as opposed to everything else.
There's still no dust, but it just doesn't look like it's upkept as well. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to look around or?
I would, yeah. I'd like to take a look around.
Okay. Come in, go ahead and do a spot hidden.
Nice. I got a 19.
Okay.
So that's a hard.
You find at one end of the room on what would have been like a little dresser for putting kids' clothes in it. There's an album.
Okay.
And I assume you're gonna open the album.
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask if like the title on it was of any relevance.
No, it just says album on it.
Oh, all right.
When you open it up, there are
photo album.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry.
It looks like it's the kind of photo album. Oh, you were thinking like a music album.
Yes.
When you open it up, there's a couple of things that are, once again, kind of difficult to look at. There are pictures of Corbin when he was young. There are pictures of him and his wife at their wedding, things like that. And then there are some newspaper clippings as well that have been put inside.
Local businessman killed in accident. It was learned today that Theodore Corbitt, owner of Corbitt Importers of America, is dead, victim of a tragic accident while vacationing in India. Corbitt, while in the company of his son Bernard, died in a fall while the two were traveling through the high mountains of Nepal. According to authorities, the two men were on a hiking trip when they were set upon by a group of bandits known to frequent the area. While being pursued down the mountainside, the elder Corbitt apparently lost his footing and fell to his death. His son managed to escape, eventually making it to safety. The elder Corbitt's body has not been located, and authorities fear that it may be lost, possibly consumed by the wild dogs that roam the mountain. Theodore Corbitt is survived by his wife, Olivia Maria, and one son, Bernard. At this time, it is not known if Bernard Corbitt will take over management of Corbitt Importers. June 5th, 1909. Obituaries, July 19th, 1910. Corbitt, Olivia, aged 63, widow of Theodore Corbitt and mother of Bernard Corbitt, passed away in her sleep at Our Lady of Perpetual Help nursing home this morning. Miss Corbitt had been under the care of the Sisters of Mercy since September of last year. It is believed that she died of grief following the death of her husband. She is survived by her son Bernard Corbitt, president of Corbitt Importers of America. Funeral services will be held at St. Paul's Church in Arkham this Sunday.
There's also the obituary of his wife, which you've already seen in a previous episode.
Right.
And then there's one other piece that is very strange indeed.
Nurse hospitalized after tragic accident in patient's home. Professional nurse Mona Dunlap was admitted to Central Sanatorium yesterday following an accident that took place in the patient's home. Her condition was diagnosed as serious. Nurse Dunlap was enlisted by Mr. and Mrs. Bernard Corbitt to assist with Mrs. Corbitt's confinement. She was in her early 60s and apparently suffered a stroke while attempting to deliver the Corbitt's baby unassisted. Mr. Corbitt returned home from his office on Wednesday afternoon to find Nurse Dunlap unconscious and his wife and infant son dead due to complications during childbirth. Doctors at the sanatorium say the nurse has yet to regain consciousness, and there may be some time before the full extent of her injuries are known. May 6th, 1911. Dang.
So let's jump back upstairs.
Sure. Oh, I thought it was upstairs.
Let's back up to the attic.
Got it. Sorry.
All right. So George, you've climbed up there. Ernest, you're back down the ladder, but you're telling everybody that you guys are up in the attic. All right, George. You start to look around. What do you want to look at first?
So you said there's the rug, the chair, and then some boxes and chests.
Yeah.
I think just initially just looking at the boxes, seeing if they're labeled, and looking at the chest, again just kind of looking around in general.
Okay. So do a luck.
After I just spent all the luck. Would have failed it anyways, so fail.
Okay, so you fail. You move over to where the chair is. You'll see there's a couple of old trunks and things like that. You try the first one and it's locked. And as you sort of are moving around, you suddenly get the distinct feeling that there is something in this room with you. It's just on the other side of the trunk. It's making enough noise that it catches your attention. You're not sure if it's the sound of an animal or something, but it makes that sort of sound like when a dog or a cat or something is frightened, and it sort of squeaks just a little bit, like it's nervous energy.
So I think because George is a veterinarian, I think those instincts would kick in, and he would, first off, Ernst, I think you're right. I think there is an animal up here, and he'll just kind of, just take a step back and go, "It's okay. Come on out. Come on out." Just, getting back into his veterinarian doctor mindset.
Just for the sake of the fun of it, Ernst, you probably go up the ladder and you've got your head looking over at George. George, something suddenly hisses like a cat. It screeches a little bit and it leaps onto the top of the box, and it moves very, very quickly, almost like, like a cat can, like lightning, onto the carpet and runs up to the trap door where Ernst has got his face poked out. You're not sure what the hell it is, but it only has two legs and it doesn't have any hair, and it screeches kind of like a cat. And you can do sanity rolls.
Oh my. No, fail.
I failed my SAN as well.
All right.
That is very creepy looking. And it's running at me?
Yeah, it ran right up to you. And it doesn't stop. It sort of leaps when it sees you. So this is the proverbial, black cat jumping out of the shadows moment. So Ernst, you can do a dexterity roll to see if you don't let go of the ladder and fall backwards to the ground.
I actually have a hard success on dex.
Okay, so you don't let go of the ladder. George,
how much do we lose in SAN?
I'd say 1d4 if you lost your SAN.
What was that?
Well, and it's
what
now
is
bouncing
that?
around all over the place.
Oh, it's
George, let's get out of this place.
yeah. It's gonna run for the.
What kind of animal is that, George?
I don't know. It's got mange or something.
Yeah, come on.
George, you can do an animal veterinarian role, whatever that would be.
I've got zoology.
Yeah, zoology.
That is a success.
You're not sure, but you're seeing a couple of different kinds of animals all in there. You can definitely, if you look closely, you can see where bits and pieces have been stitched together.
Oh, stitched together?
Yeah.
I missed that part. I don't
there's-
know. George is just beelining for the trapdoor.
And it
I'm getting out
it
of his
runs
way.
and hides behind something. You can hear it make noise, but now it's hiding somewhere in the room. Ernst, you jump down the off the steps, and George, you come running down afterwards. The rest of you
We
hear all
found
this
something. We
commotion
found
suddenly.
something.
Yeah, you hear them yell in the other room.
I run after him.
Yeah, from down the hallway, I'll like leave the nursery and go and find out what they're busy screaming about.
You see George come out of the closet, and I assume you've slammed the door closed.
Does it have a latch?
No.
Ah,
I don't know what that was, but it's some animal that it was. Did you see it? It was stitched together. It was just different animal parts that were stitched together. It was all white and teeth, and can you guys hear it?
it was like from the devil, like
I mean,
one of those
yeah.
Hindu Krishnu things.
We can hear it. Stop. What?
Yeah, like Vishnu was stitched back together after he was dismembered.
How do you know this stuff, Bernie?
Well, I know a lot of things, man.
Like, okay,
I'll
hang
be
on.
right back.
What did
Ernst
you?
is going downstairs to his toolbox to get some nails and a hammer.
It was some type of animal that was just stitched together. Different animal parts put together. I've never seen anything like that in my entire career.
Oh, and Yenma also has the cow head where it was reattached.
It wasn't a cow. It was like cat and dog, and I don't know what else.
Hold on a second. How big is this animal that you saw?
Cat size.
Okay. George, do you have any like traps? Animal traps?
We're still sneaking, right? We don't want Mr. Corbitt to know we were in here. Why are you trying to take his cat?
That is a fair
It's
point.
not a cat.
What are we looking for?
Well, Jack, why don't we just go into the attic and find this cat?
You don't want to go up there.
You were making it sound like there was going to be like a butcher shop with baby arms. I didn't come here to chase Mr. Corbitt's cat around.
Okay. Well, look, I mean, George, I'm going to ask an awkward question, right? So, whatever you saw, I mean, whether it's like a mangy cat or some kind of bizarre amalgamation, do you think it can operate a door?
I don't know, because when Ernst and I came in here, the door above slammed. I thought it was something else. So maybe
Ooh, I don't like
I don't.
that. Okay. Well, I mean, it didn't attack you, right? Like you went in after it responded.
I barely got out of the way. It
Right.
flew at me. It flew at Ernst's face. He's lucky to not have be injured. I mean, can we hear it still above, or is it?
Yeah, now that you're sort of listening, I mean, there's moments when there's no sound at all, and then you might hear something running.
See,
And now it distinctly sounds like 2 feet, not 4 feet.
Yeah, it was running on 2 feet, and I.
Okay, so
Don't
Mr.
like
Corbitt
that.
has a two-legged cat because he's feeding him to his plant, right? That's what you're saying?
mean, Jack, it's a bit of a stretch, but I think I'm kind of in agreement with the rest of the group. I don't think.
I'm not trying to stretch. I'm just trying to understand. We're in Mr. Corbitt's house right now. This is really bizarre.
Why don't we try calling the cat's name? Because we know it's Lucy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna poke my head up and say, Lucy, come here.
You're going to poke your head up?
Yeah.
All right. Um, do a persuade roll.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, 18. That's a pass.
Nice.
Okay. So you very sheepishly stick your head up there and you start going, see, Lucy, like this. And it takes a couple seconds, but after a couple of seconds, this thing comes out from behind a box. It's sheepish at first, the way a cat might be, but then it sort of plucks up its courage and it starts to move towards you. And you're going to need a sanity roll because it moves in a bizarrely sensual sort of manner.
Ugh.
Like it doesn't have hips, but it sort of swings its little head, as it's moving towards you. And you also realize that although those aren't cat feet, they might be raccoon because they've got little digits. And the ears look like a cat and maybe most of the skull, but that's not a cat's nose. That's a cat. That's almost a human nose on that thing.
I think the head monculus is trying to fuck me.
And it's
Bernie, did you do drugs before we came in here? Bernie, what the hell was that sentence?
Sanity roll.
It's going to keep coming towards you, and if you don't freak out and drop, it's like going to rub itself on you like a cat would.
I think I'm just gonna freeze in horror.
Okay. Yeah, you can roll your sanity roll.
I already failed it.
Okay. This group has no
1d4.
sense of self-preservation, and I love it.
All right, 1d4. 2.
Okay, take 2. But this thing, you can become almost petrified as this thing comes up towards you. It looks like it's been manufactured out of parts, and yet the damn thing is acting like almost, the way a cat can be very sensual. It's being very sensual, and if you make a funny move, it startles back as if it's frightened. But there's almost intelligence in those eyes, and it starts to make noises like purring, like it wants to tell you that it's hungry, but it doesn't really make the meow sound. It makes a sort of gurgling noise. It's absolutely horrific. And yet it's trying to be
Cute.
Yeah, cute. You can guess that its little feet could easily grasp the cord and open and close the... What do you do, Bernie?
I think I'm having absolute terror reaction. So after being frozen for a few seconds, I'm just going to slowly back down the ladder.
Okay. As you do that, it moves forward to the edge of the hole and puts its little feet on the hole and sort of looks down past you at the others. So those of you who are in the room now see this semi-human fanged face. You can do your sanity rolls.
I pass. How much do I take?
I think if you pass, you're just going to take 1. If you fail, I just sort of want to see if you scream.
I was going to say, however, Ruby is going to scream because that is fucking horrific.
Okay. If you scream, the thing disappears back up into the attic, gets behind the boxes and hides.
What the fuck was that? She wheels on George and just grabs him by the front of the shirt.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like that before in my life. Is that
right.
what?
God, that was an ugly cat.
I said, all right,
Not a cat.
new plan. New plan. Fuck the attic.
I'm here. I'm gonna nail this shut
Ernst,
so that thing can't come down.
Okay, so we're trying to sneak here, aren't we? This is gonna be the
No,
most
there's
obvious
no
thing if
fear
a
except
door
that
is nailed
monster.
shut.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Jack. I don't think we need to nail this shut. I figured this cat man
It's
thing
so-
is
It's some East Asian cat. He's bringing all
There's
sorts
an,
of
hold
weird
on,
there's
shit
an
hold on,
over.
experimental
hold on.
frauderist in the attic.
George
It's
says
like
it's
fucking
not
rubbed
an
me.
animal.
I was a vet for 35 years. I have never in my training, in my career, anything like that, seen anything that looks like that. That is not a cat.
It looks sewn together. And I wanted to ask you, George, did one of the arms, like where it was sewn, maybe that looked a little fresher? Maybe that was what Ruby saw?
Well, what are you suggesting? He like Frankenstein together this creature?
It didn't look human.
I
The arms looked like
I don't know.
raccoon.
yeah, that was not human. And plus,
Okay.
Ruby, the arm you saw was probably the size of that thing, right? You said it was a child's arm.
Right.
It would be too big.
Right.
If he could do it with that thing, that's not going to be his first attempt.
I don't even think that's possible to do something. I mean, I've done stitched up animals. You can't just sew an animal together.
Yeah, Mr. Corbitt is a very boring man with really weird hobbies involving strange stuff. But whatever his pet is, it's just living up there. Let's just walk away.
As much as I hate to admit it, I think Jack might actually have a point.
I agree with Jack. We can't. Mr. Corbitt is our neighbor, and our neighbor, Mr. Corbitt, has done absolutely nothing wrong
Except create
to
an
harm us.
abomination of nature.
Well, besides that, he's not hurt us in any way, shape, or form.
He's
To
been
himself.
buying animal parts from that savage at the hospital.
Oh, he probably doesn't want to let it outside because the jackal would kill it because it's his pet.
No, the jackal is Tomaskowski.
Screw the jackal. If I saw that thing when I was walking around the neighborhood at night, I'd kill it.
Yeah, I probably would too. But
Okay.
it's in his house. We can't. This is the thing that's alive in the house right now. That's its house. We can't come into that thing's house and kill it.
What? Okay.
I'm not saying kill it.
We're just
Trap
going to
it.
in the attic.
Trap
I don't want to fight it. I just want to see what else is in here.
In the attic?
No, I'm not going back up in the attic, but I mean, we've seen the greenhouse. We've seen there's a
You mean the
nursery.
house?
Yeah, there's a nursery I was just in. Like, I mean, if that's in the attic, what the hell does he have in the rest of the house?
I mean, I don't really want to kill it either. It was kind of weirdly cute.
Okay, Bernie's clearly gone mad, so
Right.
we need
George-
to.
George,
I'm fine with-
Am I right in thinking that maybe this thing was put together by animal parts? I mean, I know it sounds
Maybe.
crazy. Like it sounds like
It's-
Frankenstein.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible, but I can't think of another explanation for that unless he took an animal and just like sewed the skin on it like a taxidermist would. I don't know. But I'm leaving this room. I can't be in the same room with that, knowing that thing is above and walk onto the hallway.
Things gonna haunt my nightmares. Let's just leave. We can just go back downstairs. I still want to see what's in his master bedroom, although now I'm suddenly wishing I wasn't such a curious person.
Hey, Keeper, does the second door on the built-in cabinet close?
Yeah, you mean the closet? Yes.
Yeah.
It's got the sliders. Yeah.
Oh,
So
so
yeah, with both of them closed.
that'd be hard to tie open or jury rig it so it couldn't open, right?
Right. If you were to tie, there's a string to open up thing. If you were to tie that, well, no, because it opens
Because
down.
that only works from the bottom. Yeah.
I don't know, broom handle or something could be sort of wedged with the
Oh,
ladder and
thank you. Yeah. 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 There's got to be a kitchen. I'm going to go get a broom.
yeah. You probably saw the broom closet,
Yeah.
which was extremely neat.
Ernst,
Yeah.
whatever you're
You
planning,
guys stay
man.
here and make sure this thing doesn't get out.
Yeah, but you gotta undo whatever you do before we leave.
Yeah. Yeah. When we leave,
Okay.
I just don't want that thing. I don't want to see it again.
Yeah, me neither.
All right, so that's not a problem. Ernst, you do that. And then Ruby, you were going to go down to the master. There's only one bedroom left.
Yeah, it's like a bad murder case, man. I know that the rest of this file is not gonna contain rainbows and unicorn farts, but I got to see the back of this thing.
All right, so you go down to the last door and you open it. There is distinctly what smells like incense, something Eastern. It doesn't smell like it's very strong, so maybe it wasn't burned for a while. There is a bed. The bed is neatly made. There is an armoire, and there are various dressers and things like that. And on one side, next to where the window is, there is a desk. You can see that there are some shelves on the wall that contain books, and there is a small photograph that's framed on the wall. The photograph looks like this.
I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. India.
You don't have to pronounce it if you don't want.
Temple of Ramaskeva, Jangana, India, May 1909.
Now, there is correspondence and stuff like that on his desk. It looks like he's got a household budget that he manages. None of that looks unusual at all.
Mm-hmm.
On the bookshelf, however, you can see that in addition to maybe 4 old-looking books, there are 9 black books, all of them identical, going down in a line, and they all seem to be, about journal size.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the books, you see that one of them is the Quran. It is in Arabic. There is a copy of something that is called 20 Experiments in the Occult by Dr. Arthur Turnkey. There is a well-worn copy of True Magic by Theophilus Wen.
I know that name.
And there is a book that seems to be bound in snakeskin. And that book's title is The Key and the Gate.
Oh,
and it is written on the inside all in Sanskrit.
Got it. Sorry, that was a meta reaction. My apologies. I'm gonna grab the 20 experiments.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna take the 20 experiments in the occult, True Magic by Theophilus Wen, and The Key and the Gate.
Okay.
And she can take those and basically return to the group and just look straight at Bernie and go, "Do you know anything about these books?"
I did make one mistake. There are 15 volumes in black. Sorry, not 9.
And you said they look like journals?
Yeah.
Awesome. But yeah, I'm going to take those three books and ask
Okay.
Bernie if he knows anything about them.
I mean, the Quran, obviously. I know the Quran, but
Well, that's not one of the books I brought. So how'd you know he had a
okay.
Quran?
I'm psychic.
Right.
I'm assuming
No,
that the rest
I
of you are
don't.
coming into the room as well. So, yeah.
I haven't heard of this Thelonious. I mean, I think he's a jazz guy, right? Thelonious Monk.
No. Monk, yes.
Like
This is
Jazzer.
Thelonious. Sorry,
Theophilus Wynn.
Theophilus Wren.
Got it.
Do you have any occult? Bernie? No. Yeah, he has no idea.
Okay. Do I actually? No, not on this character.
No. So these look like very old books. The weirdest one is the one that seems to be wrapped in snakeskin and has written on it the key and the gate, but the inside of it's all in Sanskrit.
Right, which would be weird if one of us spoke it. Well, I think of the ones to go missing, if they were to go missing, I'm going to take that one. So I'll put the other two back. I'm going to just slip that inside the sort of mechanics jumper that Ruby wears when she does her crimes.
You're taking the key and the gate?
I am.
Okay.
There's no way this could backfire horribly.
Corbitt have a basement? Because if I was going to have an evil lab, it would be in the basement.
All of the houses have basements in this area.
All right, guys, come on.
Ruby, when do you ask that out loud if this place has a basement? You can see her just physically wince. She's like, I really don't want to go down there, but I think we have to.
I kind of assumed we were just gonna walk straight into the basement. I don't know why any of that other stuff happened. Let's go.
Are we trying to find evidence beyond that thing in the attic that Mr. Corbitt is involved with the jackal? I'm not really sure
That's
why
what we're trying to prove.
I mean, I guess you have a point, but like, okay, let me put it this way. Ernst, if I went to the precinct and I spoke to a cop who didn't know me, and I told them out of the blue that my neighbor, Mr. Corbitt, from our neighborhood, had a Frankenstein cat monster living in his attic.
A meat effigy.
I would, even worse, actually. If I called it a meat effigy, I definitely would be committed.
No, Bernie was right. That's exactly what we found.
But as long as you had George is a veterinarian, they would accept the word of an expert, wouldn't they?
I mean, more than one of us, sure, but like we gotta have a story. We can't.
Okay. That as long as we have a good reason, that thing freaked me out. So I don't want to spend any more time here than I have to. And he's keeping his hammer.
Okay.
While you guys look in the basement, I'm gonna look through the journals because there might be some incriminating evidence in the journals.
Anybody else want to look through the journals?
I'll help out with that.
I wanted to, but now I have to know what's downstairs.
All right.
I've had enough for today.
That's my toxic trait, is making horror movie cliches.
All right.
Actually, you're right, guys. Looking at those journals, there might be more proof that Mr. Corbitt's involved in something horrible. Why don't you look through that while we check out the rest of the house?
All right. So let's see. Ruby and Ernest and Jack, you're going towards the basement. George?
I think I'm going to follow them too.
Okay, so the four of you going down. Mark.
Is there anything else on the ground floor that we haven't looked through?
Not really.
Okay.
Mark and Bernie, you're going to look through the journals. So the rest of you are walking down the stairs, and Mark and Bernie take a seat, and you start looking at the journals. The journals are black bound, the kind of things you could probably get at a stationery store. They have a white rectangle in the middle of the cover, and written in each one is a year. In this case, the very first one is 1909. So you're guessing one a year. All right, so hold on to your horses for a reading.
Oh boy.
Mark and Bernie, you can alternate, I guess, between them. So who wants to read the first? Start reading.
I'll start.
The way I've got them presented, they all kind of blend together, and you don't have to read the entire journal. You're reading excerpts from as you go along. All right, so we'll start with the first one.
Journal, Volume 1, 1909. September 10. Another embarrassing memory lapse today. This journal should help me deal with the problem. I will try to keep it regular, but some days are empty. September 13. I have had Mother sign the last legal papers that transfer ownership of Corbitt Importers of America over to me. She seems to be doing fairly well in the new nursing home, and I hope they can give her the treatment and attention she needs. I'm afraid, however, that her condition may continue to decline. The death of father seems to have unhinged her mind. If there was a way I could include her, if I could explain the transformation and my being chosen. Alas, she would never understand the power of Lord Esquiva. I wish that she had been there to experience these moments on the mountain when he appeared in all his terrible magnificence. How he spoke with father and me and left his mark upon my heart and soul. Without seeing, without knowing, she could never understand how my Lord looked father, and the two became one. I saw it with my own eyes. I saw it how, before devouring him, Ramaskiva removed my father's head and drank down his soul. And now they are one. Glorious. October 24. Met a charming young woman at St. Paul's Ice Cream Social. Her name is Lynn Myers. She is beautiful and charming. She hails from Omaha and is here taking care of an elderly relative. I have arranged to take her to the picnic next week. I'm sure my lord would approve of her.
Hey, stop there for 1 second.
Okay.
Those of you going down the stairs, do a listen roll.
Ooh, I got a 12.
I got a 10.
Which is actually only just a regular success for me.
Okay. But Ruby, as you're going down the stairs, I assume that Mark and Bernie are reading these to each other. So you hear that name Ramasekva, which is what was on the picture.
Right.
Are you curious enough to stop and go back upstairs and join them?
No.
There was some weird stuff that you heard him saying.
Yeah, actually, I think I'm going to have to. Yeah. I would turn around and be like, hey, wait a second. He's got a photo of that place.
All right. So, Mark, as you continue to read, I think they come back up quickly and join you to listen to what you're reading. Go ahead.
December 12. Spent 30 hours in ceremony. The Soma allowed me to commune with Lord Ramaskiva. He spoke to me of a great plan, how he would raise all of mankind up to a new plane of existence. But to accomplish this, he must create a bridge from his divine plane to this world and needs my help. I was reluctant at first, but he filled my heart with love and warmth, so I know he spoke truly. And so I have agreed. My studies have shown that Ramaskiva is an obscure Ashura, an East Indian demigod or titan. The Ashura are said to be older gods, the ones who ruled before the coming of Shiva. Certain things spoken of in Wen's book lead me to believe there may be a link to other obscure being called Yog-Sothoth. I was going to check the Miskatonic library to see if I could find other references, but when I mentioned it to the head librarian, he was startled by my words. In any case, he was of no help.
Journal, Volume 2, 1910. January 10th. I found myself desiring to make Lynn my wife, so I have risked my heart by proposing to her. She accepted, and we have set the date of marriage for March 9th of this year. Ramaskeva assures me this timing is perfect. April 13th. Have returned from our long and wonderful honeymoon. Lynn and I have decided to keep the family place, as it is excellent for raising children. In May, all being well, Lynn will accompany me on my business trip to Kathmandu. This may be my last trip out of the country for a while. A man who plans to have a family must be willing to settle down a bit. July 1st. Had to send Lynn to visit her mother while I cast the ceremony. I don't believe she is ready to understand yet. Ramaskiva has told me he wants an incarnation with mankind as in the days of old. Lynn will be his chosen vessel. Ramaskeva is to take my form and place for a single night when the stars are right. Soon. August 14th. I rose early to catch the sunrise and cast the ritual as he instructed me before my beloved wife awakened from her slumber. Ramasekva appeared and took my form. I waited in the basement while he visited Lynn for several hours. She seems to suspect nothing.
All right. Journal, Volume 3, 1911, February 19th. I've told Lynn to remain in bed throughout the day as she's taken ill from her pregnancy. I've hired a nurse to take care of her while I'm at work. April 23rd. Lynn has been troubled by nightmares this past week. She remains sleeping for many hours. This morning I took the opportunity to contact Ramasekva. When the time comes, I'm to deliver the child myself at home. My master has directed me to raise this child as if it were my own. It will be the savior of the world and lead us all to my Lord. Okay. May 6th. Horror of horrors. My life is in ashes. Poor Lynn went into labor today, and in the course of giving birth, she expired, despite all I did to try and save her. She gave birth to twins. The more human one was stillborn. Nurse Dunlap blundered into the room at the wrong moment, and when she saw the second child, she lost her mind and became hysterical, then fainted. In trying to take care of the screaming nurse, I must have neglected Lynn at a critical moment. My lovely wife is dead, and I blame only myself. My firstborn, a boy, is also dead, and I've turned both bodies over to a funeral home. The child of Ramasekva I've concealed in the basement. The thing is limbless and appears to have trouble breathing. I don't think it will live for very long.
I am suddenly really glad that I turned around to hear the rest of this.
That was a good idea.
May 8th, the funeral for Lynn and the child was held. I was surprised how many people came. It only reminded me how much she was loved. Her parents were heartbroken and felt pity for me. I later consoled them and promised to stay in touch. Eventually, everyone left and I sat alone, missing the sound of her in the house. And after that, for days, I could not stop crying. May 13th. The ceremony of Ramasekva brought him forth to explain the child. He said the child would live in a state of stasis for 10 years, and that I am to spend those years in preparation, learning new skills my Lord will teach me. When the time comes, I am to equip the child for life on Earth. It will be given organs, limbs, and lungs. But for now, there is time. I will dust off my old medical books. Journals Volume 4 through 10, 1912 to 1918, nothing of interest. Medical notes, occasional slight references to the child, but nothing else.
Journal Volume 11, 1919, December 14th. I have found someone to help me, a man named Randolph Tomasweski. He assures me that he can supply me with the parts necessary for the animal experiments I need to conduct over the next few years. He is a troubled young man, but I need his help. I have agreed to supply him with a small amount of the drugs he desires, and he in return will try to fill my requests. Perhaps through my example and upright behavior, he will find a way to better himself. For now, he seems particularly irreligious and bitter, but with time that may change. The new experiments should prove a challenge, but I have every confidence that I can learn, especially with my Lord Ramasekeva's guidance. Journal, Volume 12, 1920. Nothing of importance is included in this time period. The journals cover 3 trips to the east, acquisitions of unusual orchids and other botanical curiosities, the meeting of several old friends, work matters, and various accounts of mundane purchases and such. Experiments are occasionally mentioned, but Corbitt does not elaborate.
Journal, Volume 13, 1921. May 14. The child grows larger, and the time has come. I took the soma and entered into communion with Ramasekva. He told me that when winter comes, I am to search out fresh human limbs and organs to be added to the creature. The time for experimenting with animal parts is now over. I have helped Tomasvetsky get a job as an orderly at Central Hospital. Aha. As my son is still a child, I will use only the limbs and organs of children. My experiments show that the more youthful parts adapt much better than older ones. Any parts that are unusable, I am directed to feed to the child. Ramasekva wants it to develop a taste for such things and says that it will soon grow to its purpose. A bright new day will dawn, and the world will be cleansed of all corruption. No more pain or suffering, no more conflicts. A world where no child will die in the womb and love will reign forever. Tomasvetsky is clever. He told me, as an orderly cleaning up the surgical theater, he is supposed to incinerate any amputated or discarded parts. Instead, he carefully wraps them and puts them in the dumpster. A hired service then delivers them to the dump. Next week, I will make my first trip to the dump and see what my Confederate has been able to find for me. Ruby, I apologize. You were right all along.
Oh, I wish I wasn't. Journal, Volume 14, 1922. This volume contains only more vague references and cannot be easily understood. There is mention of a woman named Lucy and how delightful she is, but there are no romantic references or details about a relationship. Journal, Volume 15, 1923. March 13th. Tomasvetsky says I am asking too much of him and claims that he is having difficulty supplying me with parts. I have boosted the strength of the drug I give the man, hoping that it will entice him to be more cooperative. I fear, however, that the drug simply exacerbates his derangement, and so I do not think he is ready for soma. He would lose his mind. I must admit to feeling guilty, aiding and abetting his jumbled beliefs. It seems somehow wrong. However, telling him the truth would only serve to further unhinge his mind. So for now, I will continue to pretend that I am a follower of his, quote, satanic master. I do also find it sad that he has no actual religious training. He plays with the paraphernalia of religion without understanding any of it. He uses objects of different beliefs to construct his own beliefs. I doubt he has ever read a book. Nevertheless, I value the services Tomasvetsky renders too much to risk further damage to his grasp on reality. I feel guilty too, because the boy is not really a bad person. Deep down inside, he's good. He is just angry at life for the way it has treated him. I've said it many times that I hope he finds a brighter path. One can hope for the best. The needs of the child increase all the time. Most of the child's organs are now in place, and a few limbs have been attached. The grafts heal nicely. My years of experimenting are paying off. March 28th through May 25th. These dates contain similar statements to those above. The increasing growth rate of the child, which he now calls Adami Bhagavan. The occasional lucky or unlucky amputation from some hapless farm child, which Tomasvetsky sends to the dump, and odd statements about the amusing distractions of Lucy, how she preens and gavottes about.
June 23rd. Barbecue at Dr. Hughes is across the street. Nice food. Got upset with the news about Tomaskowski. We'll have to have a chat with him. June 25th. Apparently, Tomaskowski was questioned about the animal slayings over 3 months ago, and he never said a goddamn thing to me about it. They're calling him the Jackal? I am not a man who enjoys confrontation, but I felt it necessary to remind him that our Dark Lord Satan would not be pleased, and how Satan's plans would not come to fruition if he got caught. I made the threat seem quite real, told him that a horrible fate awaited him if he fucked up, to use his own vulgar language. It reduced him nearly to tears. Odd to see such a tough little thug like him cry, but I think he got the message. I honestly don't know he was still killing animals. I thought we had moved past that. Upon reflection on another topic, what made me think that I should start including my neighbors back into my life. A little mishap on Sunday, which I could barely remember, seems to have attracted their attention. Ruby, George, and Mr. Watts popped by to ask some awkward questions. They pretended to be inviting me for cards, but Bernie mentioned the package. I played it off as a mushroom, but he has a nasty streak of curiosity. I hope it doesn't become a problem. I don't think any of them have a clue as to what I'm trying to do for my family and for the whole world, and that is the way I would like to keep it. George tried to sift a conversation, and I stupidly invited him and the others to the greenhouse tour next Saturday. My neighbors mean well, but they invited me, but they don't really understand how their happiness reminds me that I too was happy once long ago. Family is so important. I don't think the jazz fellow will recognize any of my special plans. June 29th. Had my neighbors for a greenhouse tour. Everything went well until MP noticed. I had to get them out before anything happened. It doesn't take much to get his attention, but it's slow and stealthy and doesn't drop pollen too quickly. I can't imagine how I could explain to most of my neighbors being reduced to nutrient goo. I am getting some odd feelings about them. I need to be very careful and let everything blow over. Ernst dropped by in the evening to offer to fix my sticky door. Are they watching my house now? June 30. 2 new parts from Tomaskowski in a large intestine and an arm. Looks like from a little girl in an amputation. Sad for the kid. I attached them with no difficulty at all, but my neighbors are getting too nosy. Not sure what I should do. Hopefully nothing drastic. I purposefully waited until later to retrieve them from my trunk. Bernie seems to be a little too pointed in his questions. They don't have a clue that I have an answer to a higher power, one with a divine purpose, and I will protect it at any cost. July 1st. Something in this neighborhood has me on edge. I guess I don't mind Ernst wanting to photograph my plants. He says he is inspired by their color and their beauty to develop the new style of footwear. I am curious to see how they look. I doubt the hypnotic nature will be captured at all. But there was an urge within me to let the plant have him. But the others knew he was here, so I couldn't risk it. One step closer and my protective instincts may kick in. Sundays. I am still blanking out. Even after all these years, I wonder what takes over. July 2nd. Shit. Morning paper. Tomaskowski is dead, slipped and fell from the 4th floor hospital window. Witnesses say he was running. What the hell am I going to do without parts? Tomorrow is Wednesday. I think I might have to find my own parts. Maybe New York. Lots of homeless children. The thought of acting myself is abhorrent to me, but family comes first. What is the life of a human child compared to the life of a man god? Fortunately, I won't have to do this much longer. My son, the Adami Bhagavan, is almost mature enough to be released into the world. Soon the great cleansing will begin. Glorious. I have asked Mark to watch the place. He's the man.
And I think we'll take a little break because I got to pee.
Okay.
You guys are all staring at each other wide-eyed as you finished reading the last page of the journal, which was obviously written just this morning by him before he left.
I defended this guy. I defended this guy.
I told you I have a nose for these guys. Could have. All right.
Unbelievable. I mean, I've never trusted him personally.
Weird question. After reading all this, do we need to make any kind of sanity roll?
Yeah, you can do a sanity roll. That makes sense.
That's a failure on my part.
I met it exactly. Is there like a bonus or?
No, it's just a pass.
Okay.
I passed.
I'd say that if you pass, still take 1 point of damage.
Sure.
If you failed 1d4.
Can we call the cops in New York to prevent this child murder spree he's planning on?
Do you know how you've been to New York? We have no idea where he's going to be.
I do. I can tell you what he told me. Let's put it that way. He said he was going to deal with customs.
They got kids to kill in customs? Is that where
But
they
in the journal, he said he was going to find the homeless kids. I don't think they hang out at customs.
Do you know his license plate?
Do you know your next door neighbor's license plate? Probably not.
Don't.
Wait.
And it would also be, you'd also describe it as a black Ford.
Every car, yeah.
Every car is a black Ford. Yeah.
Yeah.
What if we told them we knew he was bootlegging?
I mean, I think we can tell him that he has a journal where he's admitting to wanting to kill children in New York.
Yeah, but that'll take time.
But my point is not that we can't get them to want to arrest him. My point is that how would they possibly find him?
Fair. Well, we know he needs to come back here.
At which point he will have a car loaded full of child parts.
I mean, you can't. I understand, Bernie.
Is it unavoidable?
We're kind of at this point of like intending to do something is different than doing it.
But you're both talking about something that, one, we can't really do anything about, and two, won't even happen until he gets back tomorrow or the next day or whenever he said he was going to come back. What's in the basement?
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
Did he sewed together a pet? Did he sew together a son?
Yeah, that's what it said.
I mean, it pretty clearly says that in the
Adamy.
Right, but is he crazy? But then you're right, the thing upstairs, this Lucy cat creature. I don't know.
Jack,
and can we trust the police with this?
I know you're a firefighter, Jack, but is there any chance that you might have the opposite of a firefighting tool, a flamethrower?
No. Real good with an axe, though.
I mean, but if it's in the basement, there's no guarantee that burning down his house is gonna.
Mm-hmm. Whereas a simple axe.
Well, Jack, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go down first with an axe?
Oh, I don't happen to have an axe on me. I haven't seen one around. I've been paying attention. Maybe in the woodshed outside, but
Your house is next door.
Yeah, your house is next door.
There is a woodshed, of
Well,
course, right out in the backyard.
are we thinking we need to find this abomination and destroy it?
Yeah, I'm not sure I can kill a kid, even if it's a fake one.
I think we need to find out what it is to begin with, because if he's obviously crazy, and then
Well-
there's a bunch of just, body parts sewn together downstairs,
Rotting.
yeah, then we call the police. Ruby, you call your contacts,
Right.
and then
Well, hang on.
we-
So we're under a time crunch, but we're not like under an immediate time crunch. So I think what Ruby is going to advocate is that we're going to relocate the journals and the books from the house and put them in a safe location like her house. Because if anything goes wrong, at least there will be evidence, and he can't just come home and be like, I should have to burn these.
That
Just a
makes
thought.
sense.
So I think, Keeper, I'm going to take a moment to essentially shuttle his stash of books in his bedroom to my house in a box labeled Corbitt, literally labeled Corbitt murder evidence.
Okay.
And
That seems
then
reasonable.
return.
Jack can go get an axe.
I know that in the shunned house, the guy buys a military flamethrower. Are those available for purchase?
Not anywhere
Okay.
you would know.
Well, we're just gonna have to go axe then.
Yeah, I'm really struggling with this, guys. Like it's messed up, but like I just can't get it out of my head that I'm breaking into this man's house and killing his cat and son. Yeah, let's go see
Well-
what the thing is.
Right.
Just what harm is it? It doesn't sit right. I can't kill something.
Let's see what it is and then decide.
I really don't want to do this, but we're going to have to.
All right. Let's say 10 minutes later, you all reassemble in the main first floor of the house in the living room. The basement door is under the stairs that it would go down. Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
Well, I think Jack volunteered for that position.
Okay. So Jack, you go to the door, you open it up. Right inside the door, there is a flip light. Also, the stairs going down into the basement are finished. It's not like a basement. The walls are finished, and the stairs are finished. You can see that they go down like you would expect basement stairs, and there's a landing, and then there are two doors on either side, one on the left and one on the right.
While I'm going down, I'm gonna call out, Adam, you down here, lad? And I'll be going to the left door first.
You hear nothing. Left door. Okay. You open up the left door, and the area down here does seem to be basement. There's a lot of old furniture with blankets thrown over it. There are boxes. You can see light. There's little windows high up on the walls. It looks like storage. There is a door all the way on your left, which is probably the continuation of the basement. There is plenty of room to walk. You're not like having to weave around. The boxes and things have been purposefully neatly stacked up against the walls. There's a little dust down here, but not very much. It's fairly clean. The floor is cement. Uh, but there's a clear path to the back door. I mean,
Not
to
gonna.
the door that you see.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go to the continuation quite yet. I'll just shout back that that one's storage and open the other door.
Okay. You open the other door, and uh, you are immediately hit with a smell. The smell is not, it's not super strong and it's not unpleasant. Part of it smells like antiseptic. And part of it smells a little like liquid fertilizer. You can smell that there's kind of a, I don't know if you've ever had a bottle of liquid fertilizer. It's got kind of an odd smell, chemically smell. It's brightly lit. You can see that there are, oh, I want to say fluorescent lights. I assume they had fluorescent lights in the 20s, so I don't know if they did or not. We'll just say there's something equivalent of bright light down here. You go in.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple little steps stepping down from the door. This room definitely looks like a laboratory. Um, there are counters all the way around the outside edge. There is a passageway going to stairs going up. You guys never really noticed, but there is an entrance on the back of the house, little stairs going down to the basement. The room also opens. There's obviously another room because there's kind of an arched way going into the back part of the basement. It looks clean back there. You think you see a washing machine and things like that. You do a spot hidden as you guys look around. This definitely looks like a laboratory. There are shelves with jars and bottles and things like that, all neatly arranged.
I got a hard, and I'll be shouting for everyone to come on down. This is it, that fertilizer lab he was talking about. No baby dungeon yet.
Yeah, definitely it looks like there's all sorts of things, chemicals and things. They don't all look like fertilizer, though. There's definitely some alcohol, antiseptics, things like that. There's also a large, you'd almost think like what you'd see in a hospital, a surgical lamp in the center of the room, but there is no table. There is a drain in the floor, and there is water access, a spigot on the wall. There is what looks like a binder, a small black binder, with paper inside of it, like notes. And like I said, then there's the sort of, it's not really there's no door. It's just a frame going into the other room where you can see a washer and a dryer and stuff like that.
Mark, you're a lot more familiar with this stuff. Any of this raising alarms? Got anything weird in these jars?
I can look at it. I'd ask George to also kind of look at it too. I mean, it might be animal related too.
Yeah, between the two of you, if you guys do, I don't know. I don't think you need to, you know what you're looking for and you know what you're looking at. Um, yeah, various chemicals, various compounds. Some of them seem related to fertilizer. A lot of them don't. A lot of them seem like things, George, like you might have in your veterinary clinic. Actually, a really, really well-stocked veterinary clinic. So antiseptics and things like that, surgical tools and so forth in one of the drawers. And Mark, when you look at the binder, it's filled with handwritten notes. The notes are written in, I mean, you might not know for sure what what Mr. Corbitt's handwriting looks like, but you're assuming that it's his handwriting. At first, when you're looking at it, you're recognizing chemical symbols and notes on composition of certain compounds. It looks at first like you're looking at formulas for fertilizers, but very quickly you start to see symbols you don't recognize. You're thinking they're like almost alchemical, occult symbols. You see complex chemical arrangements that you don't have a clue what they could be. And some of them incorporating elements that there is no modern chemical symbols for. He's made up the symbols and labeled them. So there's something weird going on here. You're not sure what. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm searching this room for, I don't know, another exit or.
Well, Ernst, there was in that storage room, there was more basement. I just poked my head in.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that
Want me
where
to
you
go
want
with
to
you?
go, Ernst?
Should we go back over there, Jack?
Yeah,
I think that's the
so.
plan.
Will these guys look at these books?
Yeah, you can do that as you're looking around. Ernst and Jack, you literally go up a couple steps through that little landing, down a couple steps into the storage area, and you make your way over to that other room. When you open up that door, you realize it's just wall to wall boxes and covered up bits of furniture. This area looks much dustier. These are things that he probably hasn't seen for 10 years. They're just back here in the back, and there's no other way out. There's a couple of windows in the back wall.
Well, I'm definitely not interested in going through his junk. I was expecting a
No,
monster.
that's not what we're here for. Let's go back. I don't know where it's left.
Well, let's see. The rest of you. You guys are in what looks like the laboratory. I would like you guys to do a listen roll.
Failed.
01.
Oh, one, George. As you're walking around this room, you hear something from the area where the washing machines are, the washing machine is. And as you sort of step into that, looking into that room, realize everything is brightly lit here. You're not in the dark or anything. You can see this is where he does his laundry. There's a couple of lab coats that are hung up so that I guess he has a fresh one because he must be getting stuff all over him. But everything is neat and clean. But you can hear something that sounds like maybe the sound that an air compressor would make or a refrigeration unit. It's not particularly loud, but as you walk into the room, there is a place on the wall on one side where the sound is definitely coming from beyond that wall. And as you sort of survey it, you can see that that particular wall panel, drywall panel, looks like it can be moved.
We'll walk up to it and say, "This is kind of weird." Say it, a little bit loudly, hopefully, so everybody can hear me, and then see if I can move the panel.
You're going to move it?
Yep.
Okay. It slides over to the side. Now, you're looking at a space under the house. It doesn't look like it's finished. It's as high as the basement. It's dark. And as you're standing there, you think you see something over in the darkness towards the corner of the house. It starts to move, and you can hear what sounds like the shuffling of feet. And suddenly this sound comes from it that sounds like babies crying and children moaning, and this thing starts to step. You take a step back. The rest of you see George has moved this panel, and he steps back from it. And suddenly coming through the passageway is this thing, and it's mind-shatteringly horrifying, but it looks like this.
Oh.
Do not want.
Ew.
It lumbers on little children's feet into the room, its little arms waving, its little heads and mouths crying like a baby. And it does something that is weird and unexpected. It simply moves past George, and it makes its way into the center of the main room underneath the big light, as if it's ready to accept the next addition. You can all do sanity rolls.
Oh. I got a 27.
Somehow passed that.
I also passed that.
I'm going to say
failed.
if you pass it, do a 1d6. And if you failed it, do a 1d12.
Oh.
Oh.
Well, I only lost 3 on the 12.
I also only lost 3.
I lost.
I
7.
also lost 3 on the 12.
I lost 7, and I'm below my 1/5.
Oh boy.
I
Okay.
lost 5 and I passed. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Julian, how did you do?
I rolled a 3, and
oh, we got a lot of threes.
like George, I am below a 5th.
Okay. So, those of you who didn't go past 5, you scream in horror and back away from the thing. Those of you who got more than 5, do an intelligence roll.
Oh, lost more than 5? I'm good.
Passed my intelligence.
Past your intelligence rolls? Okay. Why don't the two of you roll a d8?
Four.
3.
Okay. Bernie, you begin to scream uncontrollably. You go into hysterics. You throw yourself back against the wall, and you have a combination of crying and laughing hysterically, and you can do that for, say, 4 rounds. And George, you got a 3. You are going to flee in panic. So, George, you run for the door,
Good choice,
and
George.
you're going to run for 4 rounds.
Sounds about right.
Anybody else? Did anybody else lose more than 5?
I lost a 5th. I'm down 20%.
Oh, that's okay. If you lost your 5th, you're going to end up having to seek institutional help to get over this experience.
Oh.
Yeah, we're walking back in the room with her.
those
It's
of you
just a whole big waste of time, if you ask me. Thinking there's going to be a monster in the basement. Oh, dear heavens, what's that thing? And I'll try to attack it with the axe.
Yeah. You're going to attack it with the axe?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and make an attempt.
30 is regular.
Regular hit. Roll for damage.
Oh, quite a bit, huh? Oh, wow. Well, if it's a D8, I rolled an 8.
You rolled an 8. Okay.
Yeah.
You screech and you run forward and you swing that axe, and it just so easily buries itself in this thing, and all of the little children's heads start screaming like a child in agony, and the thing tries to sort of pull away from you. What are the rest of you doing?
Ernst
I don't.
is inspired by the axe and uses his hammer on it.
Okay. The hammer end or the claw end?
Claw end. Yes, please.
Okay. Go ahead and swing. See if you hit it.
Brawl.
Yeah.
I got a 0.8 and my brawl is 25, so that's a hard success.
Nice.
Okay. And we'll call that a club. Let's say
Sure.
We'll say 1d6 with the hammer.
Okay. And my damage bonus, right?
Yeah.
That would be 7.
Okay. Your hammer buries itself right into the skull of one of these little children things.
Baby killer.
I think that Ernst and Jack, you need to do another sanity roll for horror. This thing isn't putting up much resistance. And you are definitely... It's very soft and...
Yeah,
I
still lose one, but
Thom, stop.
Due to my service in the war, I'm immune to sanity losses resulting from viewing a corpse or gross injury. Does that count?
Yeah, no.
I think
yes, from causing.
Yeah, Jax is gonna keep swinging till it's dead, and then he's probably gonna cry for a while.
The thing tries to flop around. It tries to. It doesn't seem to have any concept of that it could go down the hallway and up the stairs and get out. Besides, that door is locked anyway. It just tries to keep away from you as you hack at it, and it feels more and more like you're murdering children. But the large mouth begins to bellow, crying. Like a huge infant. And I won't roll all of this, but the thing is that eventually it sort of slumps down. Some black ichor sort of flows out of it onto the floor. It begins to shudder. The little child's arms are shaking, and it eventually stops moving. What do you
I think
do?
we need to have a conversation with Mr. Corbitt.
Yeah, George is probably halfway to Kingsport by now.
Getting back to my house fast as possible.
Hide in the closet. Yeah,
we're gonna have to put a content warning in here for violence against extra dimensional children.
Well, they were human children, just.
What do we do, Jack? What do we do, Mark? What do we do, Ruby?
Inconsolable for a little while.
So Ruby's retreated into her lawyer persona.
Yeah.
And so she is gone kind of cold. And she's a little divided because on the one hand, like, Corbitt obviously should not be out and loose, but on the other, how the hell are we going to explain this to, like, the cops? Like, how are we gonna, like, I don't want to say pin this on him, but so she kind of just, like, turns around real quick and heads up the stairs. And I think she's going to make a phone call.
Okay. Corbitt has a phone.
Right. So she's going to call the precinct and she's going to reach out to one of the detectives there that she's worked with previously on some pretty heavy cases. And she's going to try and call in a favor. Let him know that there's been that she thinks she's figured out who the jackal is, and she needs him to come by and take a look.
Okay. So it's going to take him probably an hour.
Sure. She
there.
did specify that it was not like an emergency.
Okay.
Because she did, we definitely do not want like every cop and ambulance in the fucking town here.
So as you guys are there, at least for a few moments, the smell becomes horrible, of this thing. And you realize that it is rotting. It seems like the parts of it that were exaggerated, like the mouth and the sort of membranous body, are, what's the word, deliquescing. They're sort of liquefying and sort of draining away. But all of the little kid body parts are just suddenly starting to rot,
Oh, like accelerated decomposition?
A bit of acceleration, but not it's going to take possibly hours or days. But
is there something I can throw over this thing so we don't have to see it?
Sure, you have a tarp. Say that you can throw that over it. But there's definitely a pile of dead babies that you now have here in the room with you, and a lab where things have been going on.
What have we done, Jack?
I think we did the right thing.
Ruby's going to come down again, like just exuding like that Ice Queen behavior. And she's all right. The detective's on his way. We have an hour to get our story straight. So I vote that we go with, we heard some noise coming from the house. Being good neighbors, we went to check it out. Mark, you were given a key, right?
Yes, cool. I was given a key.
So, Mark, you asked for our help in, trying to figure out what's going on. Corbitt asked you to watch the house. And then, we heard something going on downstairs. We came in and we found this hacked apart pile of kids. Christ, I can't believe I just said that out loud. Does anybody have an issue with that?
What about, there's two loose ends we have. One is the plant. The second one is the creature.
Well, we have the journals. Remember, they're not here on the property. I don't know what to do about the creature.
The cops are gonna search the house and they're gonna find the creature.
The plant, we can leave the plant, and once Corbitt and the creature are taken care of, we simply just weed killer.
Well,
just weed killer.
I think we should at least warn them of the plant. The last thing I need is a melted cop. Right?
Yeah, tell them to stay away. I mean, I'm sure the police are going to want to see everything, and we have to warn them about the plant.
We just set it on fire.
Yeah, Bernie, set it on fire.
I'm gonna go get some gas and set it on fire.
Okay.
Bernie, why are you so good at this?
So Bernie, you're going to go into the greenhouse, dump some gasoline, and burn it to the ground. Granted, everything in the vicinity is well watered and wet, so it's not going to start a forest fire or anything like that. Do you do anything with that golden statue?
Taking the statue. I deserve some income from this. God damn it!
All right. You take the statue and you burn the place to the ground. Do you inhale any of the smoke?
Probably, yes.
Yeah, you can see that
Dude,
you
this
get
is
very
far
high.
out.
But the plant gets burned up in the process. We'll say this all happens just before the cops arrive. Um, of course, there's an immediate investigation. So where is this Mr. Corbitt? Um, we'll just move ahead and give an epilogue. By the next day, there is a forensic team. You're going to hear. I'll tell you, but some of this you probably wouldn't get to hear. Um, they find that all of the body parts they don't see any murdered children, so they're all body parts that were discarded from the morgue and from the thing that Tomaszewski was doing that. Um, the greenhouse is burned down, so the dangerous plants are gone. You turn over the journals, and they begin looking through them. They realize this guy was wacko. Right about noon on that day, that second day, you guys see Mr. Corbitt come driving down the street, and he slams on his brakes just, as he's coming up to the house because there's cops.
Right.
And there's all of that. He slams on his brakes and he runs out of the car and just begins sobbing. And he's like, my God, what happened? Oh no. And he falls down to the ground and he's just like, he's kind of hysterical. And they, grab a hold of him and he's like, no, what's happened? Did it get out or like this? And they just think that he's locked. He's nuts.
Right.
And he is taken to the insane asylum. Do any of you ever go to visit Mr. Corbitt?
I was just about to say, I'm definitely visiting him.
Okay.
I have to, because I have this weird snakeskin bound book called The Key in the Gate, written in a language that I can't read.
Well, I'll say, why don't you guys do a luck roll between the two of you, whoever has the worst luck.
Let's see here.
How lucky are you?
I got
What's
a
your luck?
52 out of 50, so I failed that roll.
Oh, I have lower luck than you.
Oh, okay.
So have Bernie do it.
Oh, no, I still failed.
Okay. He is, when you first meet him, he's just heartbroken. And you can see a kind of deep, deep depression comes over him, because now his son is dead again, a different son. But over the course of the next 10 years, if you will, he doesn't completely recover, but he begins to piece it together that things were happening that he couldn't control and that he was being somehow misled by something, and that he admits finally that what he was doing was wrong. So deep down inside, he's not a bad person. He's just the victim of something called Ramasekva. The only other
also
thing
referred to as Yog Sothoth.
Yeah. The only other thing that I like to throw into this is, while the police and everything are there and people are there finding all of this stuff, for some reason, Dr. Henry Armitage, who is the head of the Orne Library at the Miskatonic, shows up, and you see him talking to somebody, and you overhear a term that he uses, something about it's trying to create a bridge, and we have to be vigilant to keep it from succeeding.
Huh.
And that's the end of our story.
Hey.
So now do I need to explain anything? um, obviously, I managed to make sure you guys got all the handouts and clues. Yeah, the way it originates is his father goes to India, and while he's in India, he is captured by a tribe in the Himalayas that worship Ramasekva, and he's forced to take this drug that opens up the mind. The natives intended for him to simply go stark raving mad and die screaming, but he didn't. He somehow was able to process it and came into contact with Ramasekva, who then told him that he wanted to bring salvation to the human race, which was a lie. But that Theodore was too old and told him to bring his son to let me commune with your son. So Bernard had to leave medical school, he was a medical student, and go to India. And while he was there, he got indoctrinated into the same sort of thing. And his father was consumed by Yog-Sothoth, which he saw as a spiritual joining. And then he came back with this new religion. He drops out of medical school and he takes over the family business. And then from that point on, he's starting to lose his memory. He was exposed to a vision of Yog-Sothoth, so his mind was a little warped. But on Sundays, he would sort of be taken over. So he was extremely dangerous on Sundays. If he had really started to suspect you were getting close, he was. It's happened in every version except this one. One of the characters got a little too close, and Bernie brought him some fruit or something that was laced with soma, and so that there would be this gap. Even the other characters didn't realize it, but I would tell the person that suddenly they started to hallucinate and see things, and I have all sorts of descriptions. What you guys would see is your friend come running out into the street, tearing off his clothes, screaming like a madman, and then having some sort of seizure and falling to the ground and shaking. And as far as you knew, he just had some sort of seizure. But from his perspective, he was seeing things that he couldn't grasp, and it was driving him insane. So that's one way that a person dies. Another is, of course, if you stay a little too long near the death incarnate, it sprinkles pollen on you, and when it does, you just immediately start to disintegrate into. That's how it feeds itself.
Jeez.
You just sink into the soil, and then it would just suck up the nutrients from you.
It was a little too close there for that.
Right?
Yeah, one of the characters in a previous one decided that he really wanted that statue, and so he broke in the middle of the night and went in there and was fiddling
and dilly-dallied just a little too long.
And it's interesting to try to run. And the other fun thing about running this is that I have to update the journal depending on what you guys do.
I thought that was
I
really
really
nice
like
touch.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and finish up. We can talk a little bit more. Our players included Julian Arba, Tyler Hudak, Max Meltzer, Steve Anderson, Kaylin McDowell, and Gordon Lewis, with myself as keeper of the arcane lore. We have a Discord server where you can chat with other members, you can set up private games, and you can learn the finer arts of gameplay and game mastering. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Spotify, Podbean, or iTunes. Support for the show is provided by our patrons, who are listed in the closing credits. If you would like to show us your appreciation, please visit our Patreon page, or you can use the thanks button just below the screen. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel and punch the bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answering any questions you might have. This is Thom Raley, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck, good gaming.